Hello and welcome to Amalgamnation. This week's vid is on the Dragon Age series, from Dragon Age Origins right the way up to Dragon Age Inquisition, although I won't be reviewing Dragon Age Inquisition since it's not out at the time of recording of this vid, so therefore I cannot comment on any gameplay in it or any story in it because I don't know what the story or gameplay are like. I will however be doing a unboxing vid of the special edition of that game on the following Sunday after this one. Dragon Age games are among the best games I have ever played. Also slightly among the worst, but I'd mostly classify it as among the best. BioWare are geniuses at making role-play fantasy games. They made one of my other favourite role-play games, which is the Neverwinter Nights series. Brilliant games, except for the MMO, which I haven't really played all that much, which didn't seem to stand out too much when I did check it out. But back to Dragon Age, like I said, this is Dragon Age Origins on screen. I will not be showing gameplay footage from Dragon Age 2, because I might want to do a separate review on that with more details than I will go into in this. This one is mostly going to concentrate on Dragon Age Origins. In Dragon Age Origins there are many different armor types. If you see it on the screen during a cutscene, you can see it on your character at a later point. It doesn't matter what class you play as, you can wear any type of armor if you meet the stats requirement, which is the way traditional roleplay games on the PC and console used to be. If you had the stats, you could wear it. If you didn't have the stats, sod off, come back when you have them. You can't wear it right now because you don't meet those requirements. There are different materials that each armor can be made out of, and I don't just mean silver or gold like you have in Skyrim. I don't mean it's dwarven made, which makes it special, although dwarven made armors insinuate it to be special in these games. It, however, is just a style of how the armor will look. I'm not sure what all the different materials are, because there's so many different ones. There's iron, there's steel, there's grey iron, there's red steel, there's silverites, there's something called viridium, there's dragon bone, there's all kinds of materials, but the materials only slightly change how it looks. If it's a red steel chainmail, it's not going to be bright blue, it's going to be red, but it's still going to look like it's metallic and steel. Leather armor will look like leather armor, hardened leather armor looks slightly different. It's a traditional roleplay fantasy game. You have all your traditional weapons. There's bows, there's crossbows, there's swords, there's daggers, there's staffs, there's two-handed swords, there's battle axes, there's warhammers, there's all kinds of things. There's one warhammer called a nug basher, and in the game a nug seems to be some weird hybrid of a pig and a rabbit from the look of it, because it's got long pointy ears, but it's about the size of a pig from the look of the game. But this game is mostly about story. Each race has their own story. Humans have the noble human and the human mage. Elves have the free elves, and then you have the elves who were enslaved for a time, but they're still free, but they live with humans now. They're treated differently by each other. The elves that were living in human cities don't believe that the elves outside the human cities actually exist in most cases. They believe that they're myth, that it's rumour and legend and innuendo. Although I'm not sure why it's an innuendo, but still, they don't believe it, that they exist. You have the Darkspawn, they're your enemies, the Blights, you have to defeat it. The Blight is what they call it when the Darkspawn rise up from the surface and attack. I have a theory about what the Darkspawn actually are. I think they're corrupted humans and dwarves, and I don't know what the ogres once were. I have a suspicion, but I can't verify that suspicion. But you have the ogres, which is what's holding the king at the moment and roaring in his face, and they look amazing, but they look better in Dragon Age 2. I don't like calling Dragon Age 2 by its actual name. I think of it more along the lines of Dragon Age 1.5. Everything that isn't perfect in Dragon Age Origins got improved in Dragon Age 1.5. It's not a completely separate story. It starts off at roughly the same time as your story starts in Dragon Age Origins. It continues on for 9 years after the events of Dragon Age Origins. And you don't get to see most of what happened during those 9 years. You do.
How
Maybe
did a child
you play
survive
the game
that?
and you control the
The
character
crater
for
is
maybe
still smoking.
2 or 3
It's a
weeks
boy. 5 fingers,
of the
5
character's
toes.
lifetime.
That's all that matters to me.
And that's it.
The Maker has
Dragon Age
answered our
Origins had more
prayers.
to it.
Let's
It
go
had
home,
storyline,
Mother,
it had
and
inside
raise the
jokes, it had
Tigers
different
our own.
things. You just heard a reference to Superman there. You've seen his parents talking. You've seen 2 people talking. One of them you heard was called Marta. She and her husband found a baby in a crater. You come along, you find the crater, you take metal out of the crater, and you make a sword. So basically you make a Kryptonian sword. This could also be a reference to Mass Effect, for all I know. But for me, with the names, it screams reference to Superman. As I said, could be a reference to Mass Effect, which is another roleplay game by the same people, BioWare, but that one takes place in space. I haven't really played it all that much, and I do plan on playing it, but I'm not sure when or how to go about doing so, and I will get to it. But the BioWare, as I said, are famous for storyline. Dragon Age 2 made the elves look like elves, and made the humans look like humans, and it improved the mages so they don't just point a stick at you and say, die! This has been a review of Dragon Age. In my opinion, it gets 5 out of 10. Well, more than that, it gets 9 out of 10. And remember, play the game and game to play.